Chapter 17, Sarah Feeds Herself, Episode 1. Sarah didn't know what to write for her assignment. Inspiration was a stubborn metaphysical creature, some magic unicorn. It was a magic trick the mind played on the brain to get it to give enough of a shit to keep at the bloody task, and the expectation that something might come of it should one not scream "fuck it" and do something else. Sarah was only inspired by the fact that it had to be handed in the next day. Sarah's essay was about Abraham. Her religious teacher was a priest, an ex-priest really. He had given up preaching for teaching. That was the official story. Some suspected he had lost his faith. He wasn't a bad teacher. None of Sarah's questions upset him, and she had tried. She didn't have to write to please him. He assured the class they were free to have their own opinions. Okay, Sarah looked up to see a gecko. After the Lord Amminadab appeared to Abraham and supped with him, he told Abraham that he could give him many riches under the one condition that Sarah's son, and not the handmaid's son, would inherit his wealth. Now, at their last meeting, Sarah was not old enough to conceive. This was no longer the case. When the Lord told her she was going to have a baby, he meant his. And it is so often the case. The Lord had the right to sex whoever he chose. It was the law of being above the law. You will call my son, your son, Isaac, because you laughed. I didn't. You did, you will. Now, for Abraham to graze many sheep and goats, he needed much land. So he asked the Lord if he might destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, it just so happened that Sodom and Gomorrah refused to pay their protection taxes to the Lord. The Lord did not like disobedience. No Lord did. Sarah set her pen down and scratched her head. She looked at her leg. The braces were finally off. Her legs used to be the sexiest legs in her school. She was pretty certain they weren't anymore. There were some fairly not so attractive scars. They would fade, but they wouldn't go away. Her legs had also lost a fair bit of muscle tone. That she would get back. Susanna assured her she was no less beautiful. Now she had character. Sarah touched the scar on her face. With a little makeup, she could hide it. Makeup was not her thing. She looked forward to her first kill since her accident. Her father had managed to get a rapist off on lack of evidence. He was a pimp. She was a whore. Of course, his sperm was in her. So was the sperm of 3 other guys. She liked it rough. Rough enough to still be in the hospital after 2 weeks. I'm going to take you to dinner, to celebrate. The man had thought it really cool to take a ride in a helicopter with his expensive lawyer. I'm going to get me one of these. Prescott nodded. And after they landed and the helicopter roof covered the machine, the man was pushed into a wall hard enough to knock him out long enough to remove his clothes and put him in the family dining room. Prescott then hosed him down and left him. You sure you're ready for this, Zara? Yes, Dad, I need this. I have an essay to write on Zara getting whored out by her half-brother husband. I need the whole show. I can break an arm or leg. Dad! Okay, Zara. Zara wasn't near as strong or trained as her father, but she was good, a natural because of her nature. She still had her upper body strength and her speed, killer instinct, and surprise. When a man had spent several hours in a sterile room with no sound, no windows, nothing but walls and a drain in the middle of a mosaic floor, he was always surprised when a beautiful naked woman suddenly appeared out of the wall. You look like Christmas. Sarah stood and looked at her victim and thought for a minute about Lot. After he had offered his 2 virgin daughters to be gang raped by the male population of the city, and they turned him down, he took them up to the mountains and raped them. Or maybe they really seduced him like the patriarchal book said. Like they always said, kill any who have known a man. The pimp rubbed his head and stood up. I must admit I'm a little confused. Ain't sure why is naked. What's this about? I was with me lawyer, you know? I like it rough. Oh, I see. This is going to be fun. Like a bonus included in the lawyer's fee. That'd be a nice little surprise. It'd sure be fucking weird. And it was rough. The pimp was surprised that he was the one getting hit. Every time he tried to hit back, it somehow went wrong. When both his wrists were broken, he had moved from confused and frustrated to terrorized. He didn't even wonder if it was going to end badly. He could see that the bitch of revenge was going to make him pay for his transgressions against women and girls. He knew he had raped many. It rarely crossed his mind that he would have to pay some kind of retribution one day. He didn't believe in God or karma. He had time to wonder about it over the course of Zara's preparation for finally jumping on his chest to smash his sternum and pull out his heart. Zara explained in her essay how the patriarchal rulers had abused women and children for thousands of years, giving examples of a few other stories similar to Lot, and how making it holy writ had not helped little girls over the years. And still today, a girl was in danger of being raped by her or his father, stepfather, uncle, or friend of the family, sometimes by a stranger.